You're listening to the Rogers Waterfowl Podcast. This is A.A. Ron Jones.
Chandler Smith here. Let's talk some waterfowl.
Anybody need coffee, water?
Good. Got coffee, got water.
Need geese to shoot?
Hey.
We do need that.
Hey. Go sit, guy. Come on.
He's just so excited.
Sit. There you go. His first podcast, he's stage
Yeah,
shy.
he's nervous. It's his first podcast.
It's okay. Just be natural, bud. Just confidence is key. You're strong. You're beautiful. You're powerful. Okay. You're itching.
Positive vibes
That's
into
it.
the dog.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so we're in the hotel lobby conference room of the Hampton Inn, trying to do a podcast here after the Goose weekend. And we're with several guys from Higdon. And so we've got Beau Brooks and we've got Brook Richard with us. And we're all kind of tired.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a long day.
It's been a long weekend. I'm definitely about 3 Pantones darker than I was when I got here on Thursday afternoon.
You are?
Got a little sun.
Yes. And I can tell you were wearing sunglasses.
I was definitely wearing sunglasses. We call those raccoon eyes.
Yeah.
I've got, I guess, before I show up for next weekend, I should probably hang out outside for at least an hour and without a shirt on and without glasses to avoid the prolific farmer's tan and raccoon eyes. You know, maybe I'll look like a normal human being by next weekend.
I have that problem as well.
If not, no big deal. I'll just wear the same short sleeve shirt and same glasses and no one will know.
That's exactly right.
Life's good.
So today's topic isn't anything in particular, really. We're just going to I'm just kind of a BS sesh about anything, really. But
We're great at that, so that's perfect.
yeah, I was going to say every time I walked by you guys yesterday, I would be in the store, headed to the store for something, and then I would get sidetracked and talk.
We like to talk.
Yes, and especially with Beau Brooks because I guess he likes to hunt turkey.
Man, I've been known to hit the spring woods a little bit.
Exactly. So I know waterfowl is our main focus here, but just hunting in general, of course. And if somebody asked me, how would you describe Beau Brooks, I would say if it moves, he'll hunt it, and if it makes a sound, he'll try and call it.
There's no trying. He will call it.
Yeah. Is that pretty accurate, would you say?
Hey, man, since I was a little kid, I've always been intrigued with calling animals and seeing them react, and where I grew up and how I grew up, I got a lot of opportunities to go listen to a lot of different animals and call them. So,
Sorry for interrupting, but I can better answer this question for Beau. The question was, if it would make a sound, can you do it? Hunting in general. You're talking to somebody who rode in a vehicle for 8 hours driving from eastern Oregon to western Oregon. After a successful week of turkey hunting, I went out there and hunted with Beau, and he blew his diaphragm call and perfected the sound of a quail in a diaphragm call. And that's what we did the whole drive there from the time we started until the time we got there. Couldn't make the sound, and we got there, and now it's a quail. Yes, he will make the sound and he will do it. And when he hears it and he wants to do it, it's done. And then he goes hunt them, and he's very successful.
Sometimes it doesn't even matter if you can use it in a hunting situation. I still want to learn how to do it.
Yes.
It's pretty cool, But I know Brook and I have the chance to live together for like half the year, and he's gotten pretty sick and tired of it. Listen to a lot of different animal sounds.
Well, my girlfriend beats me up if Beau makes a lot of noises, so I'm just tired of getting beat up. No, it's not terrible. The waterfowl stuff I can deal with. It's like the things that I don't really relate to as a native South Louisianian. It's like the elk and then turkeys. It took me a while to get used to.
See, I'd be all over the elk too.
Like the crow, the quail. And then you mix in sandhill cranes, starling. It just keeps coming. Coyote.
Pigeons.
Yeah, pigeons. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What about a rooster pheasant? Do you have that one down?
I haven't.
Ooh.
I haven't got to try it yet. Gotta leave a little bit of room to grow.
Okay.
Give me something in years to come.
Looks like we have something to do on this 6-hour drive today now. Thanks, Aaron.
You're welcome.
That sounds great.
Rooster pheasant. Okay, that's it. Well, I mean, yesterday you pulled out the speck call and you had a good hen turkey going.
Oh, I've never done it with the speck call. I do it with the goose call, and man, that's a pretty little yelp it's got on that thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely going in the turkey woods with me next year.
The speck call.
The speck call.
Yes.
That would be my only hope of becoming a successful turkey caller is if you could call them in with some variation of a speck call. So there's hope for me. It's
Yes.
good. Life's good.
And I've never known you to not have some form of call in your pocket, around your neck, in a bag with you.
No, yeah, that's honestly growing up. And if you asked any of my childhood friends we used to carpool with, oh my gosh, they're like, one of them commented on one of my Facebook posts the other day. He says, all those years of listening to you in the car finally paid off, you know.
Yes. So for people that also maybe not know you very well, that you just did pretty well in the World Elk Calling Championships, correct?
Yeah, no, it's a head-to-head style calling competition, and I called through quite a few different rounds, pretty intense. Made it to the final round and called against Corey Jacobson. I ended up second, which, man, he's an amazing caller. So if there's anyone I'd love to call against and lose to and make me a better caller, it's definitely Corey.
Well, I mean, and he's kind of known as an elk nut guru, whatever. I mean, he's got the Elk 101. He does a lot of stuff with Randy Newberg, and I mean that's his thing. So for someone that isn't, Mr. Elk himself to take second, I mean, that's the guy. If you take second to, it's that's pretty cool. And so, where did you grow up? You grew up out west, right?
Yeah, I live in a small town on the outskirts of Vancouver, Washington. It's about on the highway. It's 16 miles north of Portland, Oregon. And growing up there, I didn't really do a lot of my hunting there on the west side. I always left and went other places. I didn't have turkeys around me. The closest turkey I have to me is 2 hours. Exceptions of some that are in the mountains that apparently exist. I've never seen them. But no, it's as far as duck hunting goes, I could always hunt in my backyard and around in the surrounding areas. But if I wanted to go hunt elk and stuff, I usually got away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I know that there's a lot of guys. We have a pretty big following out in Oregon and Washington. There's a lot of good waterfowl hunting out there. I've personally never hunted out there. But what do you guys get into most out there?
It really is. It's amazing. The Oregon and Washington and Idaho, the change in climate. I mean, my side is it's kind of a temperate rainforest. It's like evergreens, and there's lots of sheet water and the Columbia River. Well, then you just hop another hour east or hour and a half east, and it turns into oak trees, and then it goes into desert, back into mountains. I mean, it's
all in the same state.
In the same state, yeah. I can be hunting on a sheet water pond in the rain, then hop over the hill, and I'll be hunting in cliffs and rocks in a pond for mallards. So it's, man, it really is crazy how much. It's sea ducks to pintails to mallards we got it all.
Did you guys get a lot of specks out there?
Shh. No.
Nope, he does not.
Yeah.
He does not. Okay, Brooklyn, we won.
No, they're out
times,
there for sure.
At times, it's we have a special late hunt, and that has a lot of specks. But it's in Southern Oregon. Up where I grew up, we never had specks. If you saw a speck, everyone targeted him, and poor thing, he never had a chance because someone's gonna get him. But I went on my first real speck hunt, honestly, 2 years ago. Went down there and tried it for real. Go down there, and I'm in love with it. Speck hunting is fun, man.
And that's as you say that, Brook gets a nice little smile on his face. If
there's hope. No, I mean that was a cool thing when Beau and I met. I met Beau at NWTF 3-4 years ago, and just came up and blew some goose calls, and nice guy. And then we kept in touch, and shortly thereafter, we got involved with the turkey calls, the power calls, and Beau was at the top of the list for who we wanted involved with that, and it worked out. And Beau came in, and he's like, "Man, there's some specks around me. I'm gonna hunt them." And he went out and hunted them, and I'm like, "Beau, get your spec call, learn a spec call. You're gonna kill more of them." And then he lived with me for a few months while he was up at the office in Paducah working, and he turned the corner on spec call, and he really got serious about it and won a contest at Max Prairie Wings. I mean, he's no joke.
I was going to say, you won a spec contest. Yeah. That's what I thought I had heard.
Yeah, no, I told Brook, I said, I want to do this, and I want to do it right. We got 4 weeks, and I want to go win a competition.
Yeah.
And so,
And it's a lot like turkey calling too. And by that I mean, if you become a better caller, you will kill more.
yeah,
of that animal,
absolutely.
period.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it and as far as I get more of a reaction out of a speck than almost any other waterfowl out there. You hit a speck and they just on a dime almost not every time, but they always give you something where Canada geese kind of just turn. They kind of just go out and turn on you, and mallards will do it, but turkeys, when I become a better caller, when I had actually seen, I've been able to actually see a difference. Turkeys come in a lot quicker. It eliminates that. It's a hunter aspect. You know what I mean? And so there's always the other side of it, the hunting side of it and everything, but just eliminates a bunch of the stuff to get you there at the end zone. You know what I mean?
It's just funny whenever Beau first came and spent some time at Higdon and he started learning how to blow a speck call, very quickly, a month or two, he went from a 2 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10, or whatever that means. Just got a whole lot better. And he went back home and went speck hunting. He's like, Brook, they don't even have a chance anymore. It's like, this is so awesome. He's like, I should learn how to blow a speck call a long time ago. It's like, you can almost do no wrong whenever you're in a place like where Beau hunts out there with a lot of specks and you can proficiently blow a speck call.
Sure.
It's like, man, yep, I'm glad I learned how to blow one because this is fun.
There's a lot of times that I before would try and call at them and they just fly over and they're not looking at me or anything. And then this year, every speck I saw, I at least break them up. They'd all break up or they'd all just start doing crazy stuff. I'm like, called Brook. I said, man, this is the real deal. I said, this is a game changer.
The legit, yeah.
It's like turkey calling for me. Beau's like, Brook, we'll learn how to kill more turkeys whenever I'm not with you. Learn how to call. And we spent 30 minutes on my couch one night, and I was like, Beau, here's the deal. I just don't have it in me. I'm just going to turkey hunt with you for the rest of my life. So that's just what it is.
I need to spend 30 minutes on sitting down because there's a few things like I can't perfect that purr really, really well the proper way. That one's tough.
Yep.
I can do it, but it's not the proper way you're supposed to do it. So there's a few things I could work on.
I've got just too many bad habits in the way from duck calling and speck calling. Just the way I shape notes in waterfowl calling. When I put a diaphragm call in my mouth, it
does it to me with duck calling too.
Yeah.
I blow with duck call with so much forward pressure, and Brook's like, stop that. I'm like, man, I said I like it.
Yeah. It's a real struggle for me. It's a lot easier to hop on a plane and hunt with Beau. So
Yeah.
I tend to have a lot higher success rate when that works out anyway. But
Sure. Speaking about success rate, how many turkeys fell victim to Beau Brooks this year?
We had 51 I was involved with total. I killed, I believe, 13 and had 11 misses. So it was a good year. Called in a lot of turkeys too that stayed out a little bit. Just had the time of my life running around doing what I love.
All over the country, right?
Yeah.
you got your Royal Slam this year.
Yeah. Now I finished my Royal Slam.
Single season
Royal Slam, and man, I love it. And I love turkey hunting, and people know me that I love to turkey hunt. I have the same passion for waterfowl hunting and elk hunting and all of it. It's just the time of year. Just whenever.
Exactly. Again, if it moves, you'll chase it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what.
We laugh about it. It's we got involved with Beau and wanted to get into making turkey calls, and Beau just was a great young man and respectable, and he made a great product first and foremost, and everything else fell in place. We're like, man, we really don't know this Beau guy, but he seems like a great guy. We can trust him. And then he goes turkey hunting for a season. He's like, oh yeah, I've hunted with Loophole executives and the Drurys and all these other people, and we killed 51 turkeys. It's like, we made a good decision. I'm glad that worked out. Man, Beau. Well, I know we didn't doubt Beau, but who else would we have gotten that was a better fit and is as passionate about it and as successful and has great relationships? He's a killer.
Absolutely. Well, I know that the signature diaphragm call that you made with power calls, it brought in a turkey this year that fell victim to the Beau signature call. So, I mean, there's one that went down. We discussed that yesterday, but it was him and his buddy, and they came under a barbed wire fence through some cedars, and then they saw the decoy, and after hearing that, they just that bowl full of jelly.
Oh yeah, they did the Velociraptor run.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
and it's funny because like I think we met back in January, and it's one of those things that we started talking about turkey hunting, and turkey hunters are a little weird in the sense that it's a niche within the hunting market. But you start talking about turkey hunting, and a fellow turkey junkie or turkey nut, like instantly you get a little kid grin on your face, and it's all turkey
Did
hunting.
you say turkey? I'm like that with specks. I'm like, you see them from across the room, like the memes, like when you look and start talking to somebody about hunting.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
just become best friends, that
Yeah.
type of
Yep.
thing. That's
Yep.
what it is.
Perfect.
Yeah, I know exactly. That's what's cool too is that we also can cross over through to waterfowl hunting and whitetail hunting and stuff, but turkeys bring us together. So
And another side of that too, we were sitting there at the pool yesterday, and it got a little slow right there. The contest was ending, and Beau was like, "Man, Rogers has an elk call section," and he gets a bugle and he starts elk calling, and it's like you wouldn't think in the middle of Liberty, Missouri, there's a whole lot of elk hunters around. Parking lot's full of cars. He starts elk calling, and here the elk hunters come just funneling through, just like, okay, Beau just made 15 new friends. There we go.
Well, I mean, being in the Kansas City area, we're kind of right on the edge of, people that are heading out west or guys that are right there, from the east. And Missouri reestablished some elk just a couple years ago, not necessarily a huntable population yet. The Missouri Department of Conservation has discussed that. It's down in the Ozark Mountains, basically, just north of Arkansas. But we did reestablish some. But, I mean, you got to think that Kentucky's got a huge elk population now, and they're trying to get some reestablished there in the Appalachians. So, it's not necessarily just a Western man's game anymore. They're starting to come this direction again, which is awesome. Yeah. Because, I mean, elk are they're awesome.
Honestly, I drive down the road in Kentucky, and I'm like, man, why aren't there elk here? They would do great. I mean, the farmers wouldn't like them.
No, sure.
Because they'll destroy all the fields there. But, I'm like, man, they would just thrive here. But, I'm just jacked that it's going to, that more people are going to be able to get into it and stuff, and gives people out here a little bit of hope when you can put in for a Tennessee elk tag or a Kentucky elk tag or something like that. It's going to be Arkansas. It's going to be a good deal for everyone. So
yeah, and it's funny. I actually put in for a Kansas elk tag this year, and people don't know that Kansas really has huntable elk, but they do. You have to put in for it. It's a once-in-a-lifetime tag because it's on one of the huge military bases. But I put in for that. They've got cows. They've got elk. And you can buy just an over-the-counter elk tag as well if you happen to see one. But, I mean, odds are.
A friend of mine down in Joplin, he's seen a 5-point bull elk on his trail camera.
Oh, yeah. They make it out, and they explore. But, I mean, obviously I didn't draw this year. Super unfortunate. But,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I moved. And it's residents only in Kansas. I put in for antelope too. I didn't draw that. For rifle archery, you can do over the counter. But I tell people I literally moved across the river just for the hunting. That's literally because there's antelope in Kansas, there's mule deer, there's whitetail, there's elk.
Western big game hunting.
Exactly, right. And all I did was move 20 minutes away to the other side of the river. And instead of 3 honkers like in Missouri, you can shoot 6 honkers. How can you go wrong there? Late January duck hunting.
That sounds great.
Beau's friendship has brought a lot of great things in my life. One of them being a plethora of elk meat in my box freezer. And if anyone in a state that doesn't realize they have elk finds out and ever tastes elk,
oh my,
I don't think there'll be a lot of over-the-counter tags until there's a big sustainable population. Because if I had to go shoot something with hooves, that's what it would be. Because they tasty.
Well, isn't that what you cooked when we were down at Higdon Farms? Wasn't it like some elk tenderloins or something, medium rare, and they just melted like butter in your mouth? And
yeah, elk's good. I know one thing. Being from South Louisiana, if they put elk in South Louisiana, as much as my family and my people like to cook and eat good things, they wouldn't last long. They'd definitely have an X on their back for dang sure. Because elk's, if it's anything like turkey hunting, like Beau tells me it is, I've never been elk hunting, and they taste that good, they'll be on the hit list for me. Convert me into an elk hunter.
Oh, absolutely. And I've just started getting into elk hunting the last couple of years, and oh my.
The thing is it's really for someone over here, there are so many opportunities. Just go west, hop in your truck, drive. It may be a long drive, but Colorado and Wyoming, there's so many over-the-counter public land opportunities to go hunt elk. I mean, and of course there's a learning curve, and it's a lot different than a whitetail hunt. But man, it's so worth it. It'll just, I think that if everyone got a chance to go just hear a bull elk that from back here would just open up a whole new world. You know what I mean? I think it's well, they're just giant turkeys.
The
So
only one I've ever seen in the wild was from a ski lift in Breckenridge. Just snowboarding. I'm like, oh, an elk. There we go. I'm like, and you've seen me. I've shot Beau's bow a few times in my backyard, and probably owe him a few $100 worth of arrows. But it's probably the most stereotypical thing ever. But I think I could hit an elk with a bow.
yeah, your 30-yard pin.
Hey man, hit that 30-yard pin.
That's right.
I'll just have to elk hunt with you, and then I'll be okay.
I actually brought my recurve with me today. I'm going to go shoot it after we get done with some podcasts. So
Oh, that'll be fun.
yes, I've been shooting the compound, but I thought I'm going to break out the recurve. I want to shoot it.
Purist.
Shooting a recurve doesn't hurt your compound stuff either. I think
No.
it makes you a lot better shot with a compound.
Absolutely. So let's see. We kind of digressed from waterfowl, which is okay. This is just a podcast for everything. So I was going to say, how did you actually get Beau involved with Higdon? But you answered that earlier. It was
Yeah.
at the NWTF. And
Yeah, he Beau being from the West Coast, I guess he had heard rumor that Kelly Powers was coming out with waterfowl calls, and I'm sitting there working the booth at NWTF, and it's a big show, and that was our unveiling of the calls, and here comes Beau. I'd never met him, didn't know who he was. He come running around, big grin on his face, and wanted to blow all of them. I'm like, man, you're pretty dang good. And he's like, I really want one, and I was like, well, here, I'll do something for you. I was like, I want you to have one. Here, I'm going to give you a carbon fiber goose call. All I ask is that if you really want to blow it in contest, blow it, and you don't owe me a dime. If you don't blow it, just mail it back to me. And he started blowing it, and we kept in touch. I gave him my number, and like, oh, you're a turkey hunter? Well, okay. Well, we're kind of getting into that. Man, I build turkey calls. Maybe I can help you guys out. And the rest is history. It's been, 2 or 3 years now, and it's going good. There's Beau.
Yeah.
Welcome to the family.
there's Beau.
Yeah.
So what does let's talk about power calls a little bit. What's new with power calls this year?
So this year with power calls, we've got the Ignition. It's a cut-down call. Been working on for a while.
Those took off, didn't they? Cut down style calls, man.
Yeah.
They just
The whole cut-down, craze is incredible that people haven't caught on to it sooner. Being from South Louisiana, there's a cut-down culture there as well. But running around guiding in Arkansas and hunting in the woods a good bit, I was exposed to it at an early age and saw the power of it and saw how well it worked. So of course I had them and grew to love them. There's definitely a time and place for them, and that time and place is a lot more common than a lot of people think. What a cut-down call is really good at, and what I think draws a lot of consumers to a cut-down call, is the way that call is designed by nature. A cut-down call is that tone board's cut down, the reed's pitched way up, so it's a lot easier to make bigger, bolder duck sounds. They're abrasive, if you will. They're barky, and for the average guy who may not be a great caller, that's pretty tough to do in a little Louisiana-style double reed call, and that may be with the sound they're after. So I think a lot of people that aren't proficient waterfowl callers see that as a great way to have more tricks in their bag, have more ducks hanging from their lanyard, and that's what they're great at. And I was talking to a guy in the parking lot yesterday. He asked, he was kind of playing devil's advocate about it, and I said, how many times have you been running traffic on ducks, whether it's in the timber or in a field, anywhere, really, a river, and the ducks aren't coming to where you are per se, and you go to break those ducks and you're calling at them. What do you do? And it's a 10-note hail call that you hear in a J-frame call, whack, 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 and that works sometimes, a lot of times. But the problem is when you're trying to do that, what happens in a J-frame call is you have to go up an octave. So you're getting a little bit higher pitch to get louder, to attract ducks from further away. And what a cut-down call is really good at is, because it's geared to be a lower, meatier duck, you can break ducks at the same distance with realistic, bolder duck sounds like feeds. They're just as loud, but they don't go up an octave. So that's the advantage of a cut-down call, truly, is it's a different sound. I think that's why they work so well, but they sound like ducks that are close from further away. It's a more realistic duck sound when you're trying to be really loud. And by God, they work. Beau was a skeptic at first. Like, I've never seen these. There's no way. No.
I heard him blowing it in the showroom. I'm like, what are you doing, man? I said, man, you're just running all over the place, blowing this backwards duck call. And I didn't know what to think about it. And we got out there. We were in the trees. Earlier, I've never really hunted flooded timber, and this is a few hunts in. And he starts blowing on that duck call. There's some ducks way up there, and I've been calling at them all day, and they won't break. And Brook's like, watch this. He goes, back, 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 back. They just all the way down. And I looked at him, and I'm like,
I'll have it.
I'll take the lot.
Yeah.
And so I started blowing one. I took it back to the West Coast. I'm like, there's so many. I stepped away about 200 yards and heard him blowing it in the woods. I'm like, that is a duck. I'm like, that sounds so good. And I'm like, I need to try this out where I'm from, because there's a lot of times I have birds flying over and I'm calling at them. We'll break them, but, it doesn't take as much. It doesn't take as much to that cut down call. So I got out there and it was a real windy day and the birds are flying up there and just with that cut down call, and I was bringing birds down that I had a hard time before. And with this ignition, I'm able to get quiet with it and blow it a little bit like a J-frame style call too when they're coming in. And man, I've fallen in love with it. I use it every single day, no matter where I'm at.
I think that's what a lot of people don't realize, and it took me a while, where I was exposed to it being a very versatile call and not so much of that stereotypical, got to stand next to a tree, kick a leg, blow them a cut down thing. Is, I was hunting in Arkansas, and I was in southeast Arkansas, and a lot of times we would hunt in the woods, and a lot of times we'd hunt in flooded rice fields. And, you get tired of switching calls back and forth on your lanyard because I've got 4 speck calls on my lanyard and 1 duck call because they get priority. But you start blowing them in open fields and even flooded corn complexes and marshes in South Louisiana, and you realize, ducks don't want to hear different things because they're flying over a different form of agriculture. They work everywhere, and people are seeing that, and they're hunting rivers with them, they're hunting woods with them, of course, they're hunting fields with them, and they're a different sound that is advantageous. If the birds want to hear meteor ducks, it's the go-to. I've got one on my lanyard all the time now for the last couple of years, and it's a tool I wouldn't leave the house with, because no matter where I'm hunting, I know if I can't break ducks with my J-frame call, like the Charge or the Jolt or the Impulse, I've got that backup plan sitting there, and I'm gonna give it to them. And I hit them, and a lot of times it works. It's
Sure.
Like, yep.
Anymore, we don't use it as a backup plan.
Yeah.
That's our A game. We
Yeah.
throw it at them every time.
I was going to say, isn't that what you were using when we were down in January?
Yeah, it was. So we had
And-
you got to hunt with the first year of running the ignition. We've been working on it for a while, and they didn't look like they did last year. But last year we had a few 3D printed production samples, and that's me, Kyle, Beau, a few others at the office. That's what we ran, and killed a bunch of ducks with them.
And that's one thing we had talked about the other day. I asked you the question. I said, a cut down is typically, associated more with the South, more with, flooded timber, the big woods or something. And I know you travel quite a bit to waterfowl hunt. And I know you're from the West Coast. And I said, hey, have you noticed a cut down working better down south, up north, east, west, early in the year, later in the year? And you said, man, I blow it whenever, and it just...
Yeah, I've blown them all over. It works. And the best thing about it is, my style of calling is maybe a little bit different, or not the way other people like to call, and I'll preface that with this disclosure of hunt where the birds want to be, and you don't have to call as much.
Sure.
But in reality, that's not really most people's situation, especially myself, and I end up in situations where you've got to work for them a little bit. And a cut down call fits my style because I'm very aggressive. I'm telling the ducks what to do. I'm not asking them. I'm calling when I think they want to hear it, and I'm telling them to come to me. It's not, please come here. It's get here now. You're missing out on opportunity. And when you call that way, and you call real hard on the corners, and you call them to the ground, and you're pulling them in like a lasso, a cut down call is great because it's super punctual. It's bold. It can get really loud, and you can really demand those ducks what to do. And they hear it. There's no question about it. When you blow it and you're trying to get their attention with a cut down call, the ignition especially, you hit them with a ducky sounding 5-note lick, just back, 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 back. They're going to bend that head back over their wing as long as they're not terrified of it, And a lot of times they aren't. They love it. They're like, I knew there was a duck there when I flew over it. Now I've heard it. It's got my attention, and there you go. You're in the game. So it's a great call from Saskatchewan. I blew it here last year. I came up in February, and of course we were shooting Canada geese and specks, but there was a bunch of ducks around. We were sitting on the porch of the barbecue joint we were at. There was just ducks flying around, and Todd Copley and I, of all people, he was like, man, I want to learn how to blow that thing. And we're messing around, and they're just high as can be, and he hit it, and it just turned on a dime. And we're in the middle of a sod farm. It's like they work everywhere. It's not just stand by a tree and blow one. You can use them anywhere you want to. It's a great style of calling that I think all serious duck hunters should dabble in at least, and be guilty until proven innocent on that one, because trust me, it works. And put one on your lanyard, go call at them, and you're going to see some stuff you probably hadn't seen in a long time.
You know, like what when we're calling at ducks, you know, these birds come down, and where I would be hitting them with a on a normal duck call, I just I'm just feeding at them. That's dang near. It's just so it's loud and punctual. It's just and they just love it. I use it dang near as much as a hail call when I'm trying to work them, and it just. I can't explain why I think it works so well, but it's something that I found last year. I loved using it so much, just feeding at them with that cut down call is.
I think a big part of it too is you know how many people are out there blowing a regular duck call, and regular duck calls are great. You know, they're not saying a cut down's better than any other call. It's just another tool to have, just like a different style of diaphragm call. You know, it's a different tool, but there's the majority of the population, just like Beau said, when they want to break a duck, they're doing a certain cadence. When they want to greet a duck, they're doing a certain cadence. You know, and a cut down call, you can do different sounds because you can be just as loud. So I think there's a major factor there of they hadn't really been called at like that yet. So you're giving them something, whether they're call shy or they've been called at and they're educated. Do something different, get a different result. And if those birds don't want to come when you're doing the hit them with the feed, and like, wow, I hadn't been called out like that. That doesn't seem like a duck hunter's down there. I think there's a big part of that too. It's just a different sound in the same situation, different sound, different result for birds that may not have heard it yet. And I think that's a big part of it. It's just different. And different's good, especially with stale ducks. We don't get weather like we used to, it seems like. So we're hunting the same dang ducks over and over again.
And speaking about weather, this year I think is going to be really interesting because, I mean, where you guys were, you were underwater most all spring. And up here in the river bottoms, we just got out from underwater, but up north, they're still underwater. So, and you said what, driving all the way up, it was, the river bottoms look pretty thin as far as food for birds.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, you know, and I've had several conversations with folks from, you know, biologists over at DU, you know, just several people. And the moral of the story, and this is just my opinion, I'm no better than anybody who has an opinion, of course, but it's going to take more than one quote-unquote bad year to really change things. I think the lack of food in this particular area that we're sitting in right now, you know, Missouri area, will have an impact on them, but there's so much natural vegetation.
There is.
1 year of not having a lot of corn and a lot of, you know, duck farming, the ducks are still going to come, but the main factor is if we don't get the weather, they're not coming anyway, and we've all experienced that. So let's get the weather first, and then if we get the weather and the birds push through, hopefully a little bit earlier than last year, we'll see where they want to be, and I'd be willing to bet as long as there's water, they'll find a place to go anywhere.
Well, and that's the thing. We just hope that it's not feast or famine. There's been years where, you know, it's 1st of November rolls around and it's still 70 degrees, and then mid-November rolls around and everything locks up. And you're like, well, that's great. And then, like you said, polar opposite, there's been years where we don't get ice until, you know, the last week of December, and you're like, you know, nothing gets cold. And
you're just waiting for them to come.
Yeah.
It's a tough deal. And, you know, I don't think – there's so many variables, and I had a great conversation with a gentleman the other day, and it's duck hunting's getting harder. There's more ducks around than really ever in the big scheme of things. So it's not that there's less ducks. It's not that there's less habitat. You know, there's a lot of ducks. There's a lot more areas for them to go now because of modern farming practices, and that's awesome. More habitat, and ducks can thrive on that. That's great. But I think the bigger factor there is weather, of course. You know, these warmer weather patterns we've been having, they just they're not good for people who are south of that front line. You know, we watched, you know, we knew there was 1 million plus mallards sitting somewhere between Nebraska and Kansas City, Missouri last year, and they were there for a extended period of time. And those are our birds that come down the Mississippi River and get to us over in Kentucky. So weather is a big part of it, and the other side of it's pressure. You know, birds that are hung up in areas that aren't pressured, they don't have to leave if there's plenty of food and plenty of warm weather. Why would they leave? You know, and if they do get weather, they'll leave, and there's more areas, but the pressure and the weather are the two biggest contributing factors. I tell everybody, you know, no matter where you are, if you had 10,000 acres of duck farm and it wasn't frozen, you had all the food in the world, and you had to say, hey, where do I want to go hunt? I can tell you the ducks are going to be where you haven't hunted. You know, that's where they want to be. And when we have this high water, there's plenty of area for them to go. There's natural vegetation in the river bottoms. People are hunting them more than ever because pickings are slim, because they're not migrating as proficiently because of warmer weather patterns. Their backs against the wall. You know, go where the ducks want to be. Sticking and moving is the name of the game. With a year like last year, there's plenty of water, plenty of food. And there's plenty of ducks, just got to find them.
Sure.
And when you're hunting them every day, and man, it's just, killed 1,200 last season. This year we only killed 300. Well, it's because you only had 600 migrate down to where you're hunting, and then you hunted them every day. And, that's why it's tough. But we'll get the weather first. There's plenty of natural food around. We have 10 years like I think we're going to have this year. It may be a problem, but 1 year, I'm pretty optimistic that if we get the weather we need, they're going to come and they'll do the dance.
Well, yeah, even on the West Coast, there wasn't the weather like usual. I was sticking to one area killing birds last year for the most part on public land, compared to all my private stuff that I'd normally hunt, just wasn't getting the birds. But growing up, we see it, everyone's like, oh, there's so many things wrong, all those different things. Next year we have the year that it's snowing in the first week of November, and wow, look at all the birds are here. It's
spontaneous combustion. It's like, oh, I knew it. This year's gonna be great. And the problem I have is a lot of people get angry with different things. Whether it's flooded agriculture fields and this heated pond thing, and these conservation groups, they're blaming everybody for things. And if you take a step back and you're transparent and open-minded about it, and you think, what's best for a duck? Okay, it's born in Canada, prairie pothole region. Okay, some weather comes and it has to leave, whether they've eaten the food out or it's just too cold and they've got to go south, and they end up in the Dakotas, and they're there for a couple months, and season opens, they get shot. Some of those leave, fly south. The rest of them stay. It gets cold, they push further south, and they're in an area like Kansas City, Missouri. Okay, and all of a sudden it gets warm, and they bump back up to South Dakota, their season closes, and there's still plenty of food, and it's warm. Why the heck would they go back south? I mean, it blows my mind. It's like, well, where are the ducks at right now? Probably where they're not getting shot. They can eat.
Even
they can
when
swim.
they're here. Even when they're here. I mean,
Yeah,
they're on the
it's-
refuges, and then they go out to other places. So
Well, and that's one thing I noticed, especially we hunt a lot of the guys at Rogers. We hunt a lot of public ground and the reservoirs and stuff like that. And being around this Kansas City area, there's a lot of people who live on the outskirts of the city who have 1 or 2 acre lots with, a little half-acre septic pond or a little half-acre pond out back for the kids to fish on. And until it gets cold and those things lock up, guess what? There's no hunting pressure. And, they're 3 miles away from the reservoir. They've got a cornfield, a half mile away, and there's hundreds of ponds around these neighborhoods, little septic ponds or whatever, that they can just go sit on and nothing happens. They've got a nice green yard and a septic pond, and until those freeze up, they don't hang out on a lot of the conservation ground or the big reservoirs. So exactly, if they're not getting hunting pressure sitting in somebody's backyard on a little pond, that's where they're at. That's where they're roosting. That's where they're hanging out until it's time to eat, and then they go back.
Yeah, that's just my opinion on it. I'm not a biologist. I'm not a scientist. I'm just a duck hunter. But, I've talked to a certain set of individuals, and I won't name them, and they've got a very prestigious place that's pretty close to where we are right now. And, they'll winter 1 million mallard ducks, and they'll peak at 1 million mallard ducks on their property. And what shocked me when I first heard it, but it really isn't that crazy, is the birds that are there prefer natural vegetation over the heated corn complexes that everybody tends to think is altering the migration. And the natural vegetation, duck's not really genetically made to eat corn. It eats it because it can. It's like popcorn. I love popcorn. It's my favorite food. And if I'm hungry and it's there and no one's shooting at me, I'm going to go eat corn. But, this area is just so rich in habitat for ducks. They're going to go to that natural vegetation, especially if they're getting shot at whenever there's a human factor involved across the river. And that's just the reality of it. Is it's pressure. Birds aren't looking for pressure, but when there's pressure put on them, they're going to move. They're pretty resilient animals, and Mexico isn't that far away. I mean, if it gets cold and everybody's shooting them between here and Mexico, they'll probably go to Mexico. And it's just, for me as a hunter, and I'm getting a little older, and it's not all about killing them and everything. Heck, I love the fact that ducks win some seasons. It keeps you going. I don't plan on just duck hunting next year and hoping I get the best score out of everybody. It's, how can I do this for the next 60 years and have my kids do it? I mean, the weather's warmer. The worst thing that could happen is ducks would do exactly what they did whenever it used to get really cold and there wasn't more agriculture and they were more concentrated in these popular hunting areas like Stuttgart, Arkansas, and and Higdon, Louisiana. That puts the birds in a really tough position, and it's very vulnerable, and it's not good for their population. Not that hunters in general really put a dent in the duck population. More die of natural causes than hunters kill anyway, according to studies. But let the ducks win sometimes. Don't get mad about it. Just get ready for next year. Maybe plan a trip somewhere where ducks are probably more likely to go, or do a little scouting.
Go find them.
Yeah, let them win.
Exactly.
It's no fun if you win every dang time.
Well, no, and I think that's if things get, you win every time, it gets easy, it gets mundane, then I think you lose interest. I think that's the challenge of it is what keeps you driving forward, and you're just like, okay, I got to figure this out, or I got to do this, or I mean, we're just competitive in our nature, and
Sure.
Whether it's against people or like you said, ducks.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, I got to win this time. We're going to go out and we're going to figure it out. And as duck hunters, we're always looking to try and figure out what we can do better, throwing decoys or blowing calls.
When I started thinking about it that way, and heck, I'm only 27, and I'm no wiser than the next person. I'm not better than anybody. But when you stop thinking, man, I've just got to kill them every day, or I've got to do better, or I'm not a good hunter. When you start thinking about, it's not me versus the ducks. We're doing this in tandem with the creature we're hunting, and how does this work? The longevity of it, and how do I sustain this? How do I stay happy? And a lot of the truth to that is, if you want to stay happy as a duck hunter, don't worry about how many you go kill. Just go and appreciate the good hunts. When the hunts are bad, think of the real reason why it was bad, and whether it's weather or lack of weather or pressure. We'll let it sit for 2 days and hunt it again, and we'll be successful. Being angry about ducks and being angry at ducks isn't the right thing to do as a hunter, in my opinion. It doesn't sit well with me as a hunter, and it really builds up a lot of frustration, and I see it all over the internet, and it makes hunters battle against each other. It makes this illusion of you're not a good duck hunter if you're not killing stuff. It's just a battle. It's a little take and give. It's checks and balances. It's Mother Nature doing her thing, and as hunters, heck, everybody that's probably listening to this has access to a shotgun and plane ticket or keys to a vehicle to go find ducks somewhere, and you spend more time looking for ducks in North America than you do complaining about ducks not being where you want them to go in your backyard. You're probably a whole lot better off.
Well, and the thing about that too is, if you, like you said, spend time looking for the ducks, it's not like you need 4 dozen decoys. I've shot ducks over like 8 decoys before. I mean, you get a dozen decoys, maybe some pulsators or some just one motion decoy, and a dozen ducks. I mean, you can, if you find the right spot, you're going to get them. Yeah,
and it's just it's a shame that the hunting isn't as good as it used to be, like people say, but it is. It's out there. You just got to go find it. Of course, when it's warmer, birds may not be going to the places they used to go, and things change. That's what makes it fun. It's bobbing and weaving, and the most versatile hunter will always win. That's the name of the game. Put the time in, go find ducks. They're still there. They're still migrating. Just look at the weather and do a little bit of research and put your eyes on a few places, get some permission, and help a farmer out and get the keys to the gate. That's where the ducks are. Go find a duck.
Even the public, that's where I honestly had way better luck on my public places that I hunt. My walk-in areas, put on a backpack, walking in, because those refuges are holding a lot of those birds too, And so I had a lot of success just going out there with a jerk rig and a because we can't use electronic decoys where I'm from, and I honestly have fun doing it. I love going out there. I love relying on the calling, love scouting the birds on these places, and that's, like I said, the birds just where I'm from were not on my private places, and so I got in my truck and I left and I started calling people. I'm like, where are they at? Drive 5 hours here, we get them there. Okay, well, there's going to be a windy day tomorrow. Okay, I'll drive 4 hours tonight. I'm going to hop over here, which I'm a nomad in the car. I drive everywhere. But I mean, even for turkeys, I mean, we'll be okay. We're going to kill a bird here tomorrow. We're going to drive tonight. We're going to go kill a turkey here. And honestly, that's always how I've had the best. And then trying new places. There's just so many opportunities, and I've getting to go and hunt with Brook and in the trees over there in Kentucky. We went out and had so many days this year. We killed 4 ducks, and you know what? I getting to sit there and watch a duck come through like a butterfly through the trees, and we killed 4 of them. I was like, man, that was worth the day. I could go home and we'll kill 28 mallards in 2 hours, and then I come back here and watch them come through. It's just, and the camaraderie with friends. I think that's something that we can't lose sight on. And
that's one thing you can do. Whenever you realize, hey, that's probably not the best place to go duck hunting, but I think we can go kill a couple of them. They're gonna be tough, Beau, but in that instance, we were hunting the Higdon farm a lot of times when it was really bad. Mainly because I wanted my new dog to pick up some birds, and I didn't want to be around a lot of hunters, and I wanted it to be, me, a couple guys, and my dog. And if we'd have shot one bird, it would have been great. It was just spending time out there hunting for the pup and working for him. It's a challenge. It's like, if Beau would go turkey hunting and then he'd leave a bird in there that he called at, and I had to go follow up behind him, it would be very tough for me, but it'd be more rewarding. If I could do that, it'd be like, oh my goodness, I did it. Not that the bird would have to be a Boone and Crockett turkey by any means, but it's like, heck, I really worked hard for that bird. There's a value to that of just, hey, we know there's birds. We can go hunt. I've got permission an hour south of us. We can go with everybody else. I can leave my dog at home. We can go kill 50 of them right now. Or we can just go walk in at the Higdon farm, sit there and hang
Brooke
out.
and I just call and we just have fun calling and, we just enjoy it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
When you look at it that way, and there's a bigger reason, is my point to all this, is it's, if you want to just go and see a bunch of ducks die, I mean, book a hunt with somebody that has a bunch of ducks and go. If you want to be a happy duck hunter, just appreciate everything you get and just pick your battles wisely. And if going hunting and not killing your limit is not something you want to do and it makes you angry, it's probably not going to work out for you anyway. You're going to be really angry and really mad at everybody, especially when we have these warmer winters like we've been having. So I would suggest spend a little bit less time being angry with everything and just let those ducks win for a few years and just enjoy it.
I agree, and I'm going to wrap up this little segment here, and not the whole podcast, just this segment, saying that as hunters, we've got so many things coming against us right now, whether it be anti-hunters, threats of, selling off public ground. There's no reason to bicker at each other. Work together. We're all on the same team, and just like you said, it's not always about stacking birds. I've had more fun on days where we've shot a couple birds, but we're just out there BSing, drinking coffee, eating snacks, cooking food. You work with some guys. This guy gets better on the call, or this guy. I mean, you just tell story, and that's so much fun. So we got so much stuff coming against us. Don't bicker at one another. There's no reason to be angry about it.
No need to. I mean, it's the side of hunting that makes zero sense to me. Of I can't be happy for that person because they're doing better than me. And not that I get jealous and envious a lot of times, because I'll be at work and I'll see people with grip and grin pictures, and I'm just wishing I was out there. But heck, it's just hunting. At the end of the day, it's a hobby. It's not an occupation. Whether you're guiding, it's an occupation if you guide, and that's a different story. But if you're just a duck hunter and want to go hunt, just go enjoy yourself.
And I will also add to that there's been times on social media, especially, maybe you see something, you're like, man, he's always stacking birds, whatever. But if you reach out and you throw positive feedback out there or congratulate somebody, the more often you can do that. Every time you see a stack of birds, hey, great job, guys, whatever you comment, leave positive comments. People are going to be like, okay, this guy's pretty cool. Maybe he wants to come hunting with us, or maybe, that's a foot in the door too. So
what you normally see is
positivity instead of negativity, and you're more likely to get some invites too.
Yeah, what you normally see is that
shot a hand.
Yeah. Oh, they're baiting, or they're doing this, or I would never hunt with. It's like, you don't know any of that. Just quit doing that. Let's quit throwing darts at each other. We're hunting. Be happy for each other. Just go hunting. Have fun, and wait for the ducks to show up.
Positive vibes. Take someone hunting, and go have fun.
That's exactly right. And you yourself become a much happier hunter.
That's a happier person.
Yes.
Because this is our life.
Yeah.
This is our life. Just go out, have fun, go call at some ducks, and every time you go duck hunting with someone else, or go duck hunting, or any type of hunting, learn something. That's always what I've always wanted to go in with.
Yes.
I can learn something from anyone, even when I take someone new. As I guide a lot for all the different like elk and turkeys, and they'll say, well, why don't we go do this? This is what we do at home for whitetails. Or I look at them, I go, that makes a lot of sense. Or like this year, they had this scent stuff to put on. I put it on. I'm like, this stuff doesn't work. And I put it on, and I'm like, man, it smells pretty good. And then we get out there, and I was 60 yards from a herd of elk downwind. They didn't bust us. And I looked at him, and I said, dude, I have no idea why these elk aren't busting me right now. We'll take it. Just gotta be open, trying new things, having fun, go new places. And when you go to your old places, share it with someone.
That's exactly right.
I mean, duck meat isn't bad by any means, but how much duck meat can you really eat? No one's doing this because they just love the taste of duck meat. Let's just be honest. Yeah. It's good. I like it just like the next person, but you're doing it because you enjoy it.
That's the only
don't go
reason I
against
hunt
yourself.
turkey, so.
Yeah. Just enjoy yourself. Just go have fun, and
Yeah.
heck, don't complain. Spend less time complaining, more time smiling. And whether you kill one duck or 100,000 ducks, it'll all wash out in the end of it anyway.
So to add to your, positive vibes, take someone hunting. I'll tell you what else makes you a happy hunter: dogs.
Dogs.
So let's talk about
Absolutely.
dogs. We've got one over here on the floor who's crapped out, sleeping.
Yep, Max had a long weekend. He spent the weekend here at the Rogers Sporting Goods show. He spent a little time in the truck, in the air conditioner, and just hung out on the final stand in Vislab at the booth. And he's ready to go home. He's got a long drive home.
Now, this is his first podcast.
This is Max's first podcast. Yeah, he talks too dang much. That's the problem with him. He just won't quit.
Yes. So let's talk a little bit about that. Now, we hunted with Max
Yeah.
this last year, and he went back to school this year. What exactly did you do different, or how old is he? Let's start a little bit with that.
Max turned 4 in June,
Mm-hmm.
or June. I'm bad dog owner. June 16th to be exact. So last year was his first real season duck hunting. I'd hunted him a couple times when he was a 2-year-old, and of course he's been in school with Jimmy Rogers up at Mallard Run, and he's a great dog. But last year we fought tooth and nail for him. I wanted to get as many birds for him as possible, and all those ribbons are great, but he needs to be a duck hunter. So
How many birds did you end up with last year?
just over 300. We really struggled, and right before you guys got there at the Higdon farm, right, the last couple weeks of January, were really tough. We had several 2, 3, 4 bird days, 10 hours at the Higdon farm, standing next to a tree, just me, him, and Beau a lot of times, and we had a really hard time getting to about 140, and then the switch flipped. We got a cold front, and we got about 200 real quick, and I got invited to go host a episode of Drake's Migration Nation here near Pleasant Hill, and picked up 100 or so Canadas and specks.
That's
and
crazy.
Got to 300, and I mean, it just worked out. It was like good karma was coming back. I mean, and God, if you ever meet Max, anybody listen to this, he's the goofiest dang dog you've ever seen. He is a handful. He's half kangaroo, half dog, half lion, and he's a lot. He really tests my patience, and I put up with a lot last year, and sent him back to school after season, and got his last couple master passes, and got his HRCH title, so he's qualified for Master Nationals, qualified for the Grand. He goes back to school in 2 days for about a month.
Does he know it yet?
Honestly, I think he likes it better there than at my house. I always tell his trainer Jimmy, I'm just stepdad. But he's starting to come around. After
Yeah.
3 years of owning him, he's starting to come around. But he'll go back to school for a month and go run Master Nationals, and he'll be up in Saskatchewan hopefully, and we'll go hunt in October, and he'll home forever.
Nice.
So he's done, but he's a good dog. We're excited to. Me and Jen, I say we're my girlfriend and I. We're excited to have a good dog, and as me as a hunter, with what we do, I don't see how people like to hunt without a dog. I mean, me and Beau were talking about this on the way up here. It's like I could never shoot another duck again, and I'd be just fine with it. But I'm not gonna quit calling at birds. I'm not gonna ever not have that desire to see birds tell me that I've won. You're about to die, and whether I shoot or not is because of something I did. It's awesome. It's just gratifying. Even if they're not killed, it's just manipulating them, getting them there, and when they are killed, having a dog, that comes second to me. Shooting comes third. Calling, dog, and then actually shooting them. But it's so fun to watch a good dog work. Dang it, it's just that those dogs live for it. You can feel the passion. They're antsy. A good dog, one that listens, is a pleasure to have in the blind. It's like having a buddy who's a crack shot and just never misses. It's just, oh my goodness, this is how nice is that, or how excited can you be for another creature or person? And having a dog as a waterfowler, I mean, heck, if you duck hunt your whole life and never own a dog and never get to feel that and experience that, I mean, heck, they're your buddy. And,
Oh, yeah.
They depend on you to actually be able to do their job, so you can't let them down. And when you get to watch them and you see your dog become successful to you, with you through your success, it's pretty dang gratifying. It's hard to beat.
Yeah.
Definitely is.
Now, I've noticed you've posted some, videos and stuff of you working with Max.
Sure.
When he's back from school. What kind of stuff have you been working on with him?
Yeah, so basic stuff. So pretty much my trainer Jimmy, I got him back about a month ago, and he said, Brook, he's got to run, and the Super Bowl of dog stuff, Master Nationals, the Grand, that whole thing. It's like, so don't do anything too crazy. He's like, but keep him up and running, and don't do any blinds over 100 yards, and just keep him sharp. So the things that I'm doing that I've posted on my Instagram, it's just a lot of it's just getting him relating to hunting situations again. Like we're going to be up in Saskatchewan hunting, and I hope he comes. And if he's there, we've been running out of Fieldhouse LP. It's just a field layout blind for a dog, I should say. and it's just putting him in that scenario of running out of that blind, coming in and out, and he's done it before. It's just working on little things, and the daily stuff you do with the dog. And Max is a high energy dog, and he needs energy burned every day, and I'll run him 30 minutes to an hour every single day after work. And if you don't use it, you lose it isn't really the appropriate term, but the more time you put in with an animal like that, the less you're gonna have to deal with down the road. So the things that I'm doing, the videos I'm posting, a lot of it's for him, and a lot of it's for me too. Me and him are building confidence. We're getting comfortable with products, just simple marks, simple obedience, and just you're sitting, okay, you don't break, okay, you know where to come, okay, give me the bumper, great, good dog. Let's do that a few thousand times together, and we'll keep working on it as we kill ducks. And heck, that's what makes a good dog. Just repetition. Just practice like you play.
It's a relationship. Like even with my dog, should we take her hunting, and it's a relationship with her and I. I know what she's gonna do, and she knows what I want her to do, and I expect of her. But Brook he just makes it into a routine. He comes home, lets Max out. He's very OCD, so I'm pretty sure he has it written
Cat's
on
out
the
of the
wall.
bag.
It's bad.
Yeah. So we come home, and he takes him out, puts him on that Fieldhouse LP or Invisilab or our Final Stand. He's got it all set up in the yard. It's pretty cool. But he works with him every day. Make sure that, and that's a relationship he's building with Max. And like me with my dog Sage, it's the same thing. She goes everywhere with me, and I've got her to pick up sheds now. And when we go duck hunting, it's as soon as you build that relationship with your dog, I feel like they trust you, and they'll work better for you. I mean,
yeah, there's just so many times, and having guided in the past, everybody who's going to hear this has heard that. It's, hey, I'm a customer booking hunt with you. Can I bring my dog? It's a field champion, or it's great. Sure, your hunt, your dog, do your thing, no big deal. And then you see anybody who's hearing this, you see people mad at their dogs when they're hunting. They're yelling at their dogs, they're beating their dogs, they're ruining the hunt. The dog won't come back. For what I do, and in the industry I'm in, whether it's filming the TV show or hunting with big groups of people, or heck, just hunting by myself, if I can prevent the frustration during hunting season with a dog by just working my dog 30 minutes a day and doing it right and building a bond, that's the easiest dang decision ever, and trust me, Max needs it. He's just so high energy. He's hard-headed. He's goofy. It's going to make him a better dog, but also it's going to prevent him from having to be left behind in the future. And he's had a lot of schooling, which turns into a lot of money, and a lot of time's been invested in this dog. And I want him to be successful, and I care about his success. And truth be told, with what I do and the people I hunt with and what we do for a living, I don't have time for a dog that I have to yell at. I don't have time for a dog that breaks. Still love him, but if he turns into that dog, he's not going to have a place in a blind with me a lot of times. So the more time I can put in right now and make my hunts more enjoyable with him in the future, by God, I mean, do it 3 hours a day if I really had to. You get out what you put in is all there is to it. I think this is the calmest I've ever seen him. I'm going to start mocking podcasts at home. He's actually laying on the floor. He's a registered service dog, so he's allowed in the Hampton Inn.
Yeah.
But we're in the meeting room, and he's laying on the floor by the door, making sure no one attacks us, and his eyes are rolled back in his head. He never does this. He does not just lay down and be calm.
I don't think I've ever seen him like that.
Yeah, something might be wrong, but he's breathing, so it's okay. But I mean, I'm gonna get fake podcast headphones and everything at home, and that's how we're gonna communicate in my household from now on.
Yeah.
So Max can just lay there and do his thing.
I've been saying we need walkie-talkies anyway, so this is perfect.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man.
And the old saying, "Life is better with the dog," is true.
Yeah.
That is 100% fact.
Tell my girlfriend that she has 2 cats, and Jesus Christ, you should see Max and the cats. If y'all want to play side bets on.
You said cats, and he got a little wound up.
Meow.
Oh no.
Yep, there he is.
Oh, geez.
No, they get along, but my girlfriend has a couple cats, and I honestly don't think he wants to hurt them. But when they run away, when they get scared, he's
I don't know if he'd do anything. He just runs after him.
he's pretty well trained to chase things that run away from him, and it's really scary in our house. I mean, I'll walk in the room and there's a cat halfway up the curtain, and Max is just sitting there with a smile on his face. Like one day, I hope it never happens, but one day I hope he doesn't bring me back a cat. But hey, But yeah, life is much better with dogs as long as you don't have 2 cats. But I'd still pick the dog. Just I hope my girlfriend doesn't hear this.
Well, while I've got you guys here, I got to take advantage of it. What's new
Sure.
with the Higdon decoys this year?
Sure. So we've got the Apex, full size, full body line is a big one. The Apex full size Canadas are one we've worked on for a while. We've had a lot of guys asking us, some great customers, just wanted a one-piece Canada goose decoy. And that's been in the works for a while, and we spent a lot of time getting the appropriate carvings, making sure they were right. And with that, we wanted to make a better stake and motion cone system in our full bodies, and we did that. So that's where the name Apex comes from. It's got more detail in the carvings, but better carvings, one-piece design, and they've got the motion cone system. They come with stakes, and they move very, very well. We hunted with them last year, and just the slightest breeze of wind, and they're just doing their thing. And Apex Canadas are great, and they're also going to be that motion cone system is going to be introduced to the rest of our full bodies, so that's on the turkeys. If you own any of our turkey decoys from last year, it's the same system, but now in the waterfowl stuff. So full body ducks, your full body specks, snows, blues, even the alpha Canadas, the bigger Canadas, have actually been revised. They no longer have the feet; they have the peg legs. Mm-hmm. We had to do that because we put that motion cone system in the alphas, and it wouldn't have really worked out well with that motion. They'd have made a little bit too much noise, but that's really it on the waterfowl side. Just constantly working on improving current products, and nothing really new, great, and flashy. Just improving on what we know works. Just a few new carvings. The standard mallards are new carvings. The standard bluebill redheads are new carvings. New Magnum goose butt floaters, those are new carvings. New pulsator carvings on some of the decoys, the pintail and the mallard drake. But really just doubling down on what works and making improvements one by one, and making one customer happy at a time. That's what we're doing. Just one foot in front of the other.
Anything new on the Momar side?
Nothing new on the Momar side this year. It's a pretty solid line. We've got some really cool stuff in the works. I think this time next year we have this conversation, there'll be a lot more to talk about. But we've got some really, really cool stuff that we're working on. Just can't quite talk about it yet. But no, the Momar stuff's really good.
Oh yeah.
Invisilab, Invisiman, Invisilay, the ramps. I mean, all of them. It's just such a solid product line. The folks at Momarsh, Ira, Joe, and Josh. Before Higdon acquired Momarsh, we didn't buy it to make products that were better than those per se. We wanted Momarsh because the products were so dang good already, and we believed in them as hunters, and we knew other hunters would see it, and they're great. And we're just same thing, improving little things, improving the durability of them where we see fit, where that needs to happen. Just making hunters happy with the current products by making small changes to quality and better experience with it. But yeah, man, the Momar stuff is awesome. We hunted with Invisimans dang near all year last year with the TV show, and it's just so hard to believe that some people, I know duck hunters and hunters in general, have a need for these products. It's like, well, let's go hunt where the ducks want to be. That's what this product line is. If you want to go hunt where ducks are, whether it's a layout boat or a blind that can hunt in water, or your dog needs a blind that it stays dry and happy in, these products in the Momarsh line are made to help you kill more ducks and make it dang easy doing it, to hide and to do it comfortably. And it's a dang solid product line. Hats off to Ira and his team over at Momarsh for getting it to the point it's at. It's really solid.
A lot of thought put into these products. I mean, like, man,
They were
I
made
think about
by-
this,
they
and
were
I'm
made
like,
by
oh,
hunters.
wow, it's right there.
Yeah, it's just, gosh, I mean, it's like the pulsator, right? I mean, yeah, there's some things that you could tweak or whatever, and you do those things, right? You make them better. But as far as redesigning the wheel on the Momarsh product line, I mean, it's sound. I mean, it's pretty hard to improve on things. Not that they're perfect, but it's pretty hard to improve on a product line that's that stout. But we found a few holes in it and a few products that fit well with the Momarsh line that we're working on. And we're going to come up with some new products here in the next
That's
year
exciting.
or so. Oh, gosh. I can't wait. Woo! Yeah. It's going to be good.
So we've talked a little bit about the ignition from power calls, and I know, Beau, there was a few new little tweaks on some turkey diaphragm calls. I don't know if you can talk about them yet, but I saw some new stuff. But
Now, Beau's been prototyping some new diaphragm calls, and we've got a few of them. We'll probably introduce them. You never know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Just think about it.
We got plenty of time between now and turkey season, the way I see
Yeah.
it. So, no, Beau's got a few products in mind he really wants to bring. He had a particular call that he really fell in love with last year, a new cut on a diaphragm call. It's really cool looking. I can't run a diaphragm call, but Beau sounds great on it, and he really likes it, and he's found a few people that he's made them for that really like it. So I'm sure we'll introduce it. You know, it'll happen. And Beau's also working on a couple of different calls that are in a few different species categories for us that probably shouldn't talk about, but
Okay.
when you hear this, you'll probably be seeing it at the same time, and you'll know what we're talking about. No, they're good. They're
For 2019 or 2020?
I don't know. Probably 2020 is probably when it'll be. Maybe 2019. You'll see some stuff later in the year, of course, but it'll be geared towards 2020. You know, so just another day.
Everything takes time, man. That's
That's what we do. You know,
just want to make sure it's right.
at Higdon
Yeah.
in general, Higdon, Power Calls, Mow Marsh. You know, it's what we do is we make outdoor products for hunters, and not necessarily hunters, but callers and hunters and dog trainers and collar, the whole thing. So it's when we've got enough demand and people, bring things to our attention. Hey, it'd be really nice to have this, or there's a true demand for a new product or a new call or a new anything. That's what we do. So we listen to it and gather the chips up and say, yep, we'd be foolish not to put that idea or put that improvement into our products. And that's always happening. So we
We love honest people.
Yeah.
That's what we like. When people
Oh,
come
yeah.
to us with honest opinions.
and they come with them and they say, hey, here's how you can improve it, or here's what you should make to solve this problem hunters have, and just keep track of how many times it comes in and really start raising awareness. And new calls come out, new blinds come out, new dog products come out, new decoys come out. That's where it all comes from. Everything just takes a little bit of time, unfortunately, to get it right. You just got to take your time and do it right, and that's really where we are right now. We've got a really solid product line across all the brands, and we're really there was a point where we were making a lot of new products and really spreading out, but right now, we are growing, we're getting bigger, and it's focusing on making sure all of our products are 100% and making sure they're all good, and reducing those numbers of phone calls we get about issues. And heck, we're hunters too. We hate getting phone calls from somebody in the field. Man, I got this thing, and it's really important to me on this hunt that it works. How can I get it working? That's what we aim to stop.
Yeah, you feel their pain, literally.
Yeah, on both sides.
Yeah.
Well, for one, I'm at the office. They're hunting. I'm not. So you dang near
Yeah.
don't feel bad for them. But the other side, they spent good money on that. And every dollar, as a duck hunter, every dollar you spend, you need to get your money's worth. And we really care about that. So that's just really where our focus is right now as a company, is making sure the products we have and the products we're coming out with are sound, they're great for the people using them, and they're advantageous to people using them. We want to see people with smiles in our products in their hands. That's the name of the game. And heck, not like we have a problem with any of our products. Every product does, and duck hunters are tough on stuff, but nothing's ever perfect. We're just making everything better. That's the name of the game over at Higdon and Power Calls and Mow Marsh. It's if you're only as good as your weakest link. So we're searching for weak links and making sure they're gone forever and getting it better, just one thing at a time.
Well, it looks like we're approaching a little over an hour here. So, Beau, final thoughts.
Hey, man, go have fun, good vibes, take someone hunting, take a dog. I think we had, but no, overall, man, just have fun this season, man. We only live once on this earth, and we've got a lot of great opportunities and a lot of great people to do it with. So, I just can't say enough good things about our industry. Let's go out there and let's have fun.
For sure. Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a good year. I'm an optimist. Everybody knows that. Duck season's coming quick, and there's a lot of great products out there. There's a lot of great people out there. There's a lot of great places out there. Heck, just go enjoy it. Life's short, like Beau was saying, and don't get caught up in the hustle and bustle. Don't worry about what duck season's gonna be like 6 months from now. Just get prepared. Heck, just plan for the worst, hope for the best, and be happy, enjoy it, and if it ain't looking good, stay home, watch some Higdon Outdoors television, and drink cold beer. Heck, life goes on. Heck, I just hope everybody has a good season and stays safe. And I think, heck, it can only get better from here, right? It's been a pretty tough few years, and we'll get better. There's always hope. There's ducks. They're alive. They're there. It's hot. Hopefully, it gets cold. We've got a few months to let this water go down that's in all these rivers, and it'll be what it'll be. No need to complain about it. So let's just gear up, go have a good season, kill some ducks. Life's good.
That we'll end it on that. Life is good. That's
Perfect.
absolutely right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Not a problem at all. Thanks for having us.